All right, now please welcome my panelists. Zhihao Will, popular online vlogger, 5.2 million followers on Douyin. Welcome. And Freddie Wen, influencer with 9 million subscribers. Welcome. And Timothy Armu, CEO of Fanbytes. Come on stage. And last but not least, Sumaya Omar, CEO and co-founder of #OurStories. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the stage. Please have a seat. So excited to meet you guys. This is the most exciting part of the entire forum today for me. Let's talk about Gen Z. All right, this is a whole new generation, the latest generation that's graduating into their adulthood. This is a video-first generation. They prefer video over text more than any other previous generations. They are attracted to social media platforms that put videos front and center, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. This generation might never have had a TV at home, but don't be mistaken. They still consume lots of video content. They're just doing it differently. And not only that, they're producing content very differently. So let's start with that. Will, we've just seen some of your work. You make these celebrity videos, funny English-speaking videos, hugely, massively popular. We've seen A-listers from Hollywood, Chinese movie industries. How did you make it happen? How do you produce your content?
I guess I'm lucky. Like, if you got an interest, if you're passionate about the thing you want to do, you're going to be successful. Like, a lot of people ask me how you can be successful, how you can be a KOL. And I think the only reason why I want to be an influencer because I'm interested in what I'm doing right now. I just want to show myself. I just want to share my stories to my followers. That's all. But nowadays, if you want to make some money, then you vlog. Probably it's difficult for you to become the real successful KOL or influencer.
So what goes into the consideration in deciding what to film?
Sorry, pardon?
What goes into the consideration into deciding what you film? We've seen a variety of videos.
Well, some of them I just notice
It's just stemming from your own interest, or you are identifying a particular demand there from your followers?
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Thank you for asking. Now, like, at the first step, I just noticed, oh, this might be interesting for me. I think this is interesting, probably going to shoot it. But when I make it commercialized, probably consider it as a job, then I probably will transfer my video into Audience Center. So both of them.
All right. And Freddie, what about you? Your videos are actually a little bit more educational, right?
Yeah.
These educational videos about tech, about art, history, science.
Music sometimes.
Yeah, there are topics like the evolution of toilet or who invented chioku, the long underwear or thermal underwear. I didn't know that before. So you really make learning entertaining and fun for younger people. I think the fact that your videos are so successful, it can be quite surprising to a lot of people, thinking that Gen Zers only watch funny and silly videos online, which are not entirely true, right?
Exactly. There is a term saying that the Gen Z always like playing videos or do those fun stuff. But actually, at least from the data from my channel, I can see that there are still a lot of new generations. They are into those kind of educational stuff and very dry stuff as well.
Yeah.
If I can put this into a relatively fun way,
Yeah, and earlier we were talking about this because I had the opportunity to film a short video, a Douyin type 15-second video this morning. It was actually quite fun. And I was being told it doesn't really take too long to film a short video like that and make it funny, right? Yeah. Usually, how long does it take for you? Like under an hour or 20 minutes?
20 minutes to 30 minutes.
And then how many people do you need on your team to make a project like this work?
One or two. For
just
me,
one or
just selfie stuff, and then if you use someone, cameraman, to shoot if I have to act.
And do you need somebody to do the planning, logistics, or you're covering it yourself?
Yeah, It's okay. Just
Oh,
do it by myself.
wow.
How about you, Freddie?
I actually doing this quite similar to the traditional media. You know, at the beginning, I started to make video in 2016. At that time, I was kind of doing it quite, you know, casually and sometimes improvisationally. But when it comes to a certain stage, I find if I want to make it bigger, then I need to take more talents in. So from 2017, late 2017, I kind of employed some of the Gen Zs who produce the videos with me, and now I have a team of 9 in Beijing.
9 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and we kind of uploaded video daily, every day, and basically we produce 7 videos a week, 6 to 7 videos a week, and so in average, every video takes around 7 days for one people to complete if we have to assign that into a head account, right?
What kind of video works the best, though, for your viewers, especially Gen Zers?
Gen Z, they like to talk about the psychological part of humans. These kind of videos, I was originally not so, you know, into it because I didn't realize or I didn't anticipate that they would like it, but I tried. I think if I walk them through this kind of psychological experiments and those human behind or human nature behind those experiments, and surprisingly, they liked it very much, and they talk a lot about these experiments, and they can link those experiments to their own lives, which is quite, you know, inspiring for me as well. And you know, in a very early stage, we select a topic by ourselves, but I think in October and November, 50% of the topics we are selecting is from audience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. And Freddie, Sumaya, let me bring you guys into the story here. So Will and Freddie here, Tim, I'm sorry. Will and Freddie here are both content makers, influencers on social media, and you guys founded your own companies. You guys are young entrepreneurs capitalizing on the business opportunities, rise along with social media and short videos. Give us your thoughts, Tim. Tim first. What are the contents that work the best for Gen Zers? You probably have some statistics backing your findings, because your company actually helped some companies launch their social app campaign, right?
Yeah, so what we do at Fanbytes, everyone from the UK government, McDonald's, Samsung, they come to us to run social media campaigns, specifically on Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram. And we do that through connecting them with these big content creators, these influencers on social media. In terms of the content that works well, so a lot of people say this, and I think it's actually completely false. A lot of people say that Gen Zers have a very short attention span. And I think that is the biggest pile of rubbish I've ever heard. And the reason why is because that same Gen Z will spend 6-7 hours a day watching Netflix. So you can't say that their attention span is short, but rather their interest span is what I think has changed. And because we have the phone at our disposal, it's very easy for us to just essentially vote with our phones to say whether we like something or not. And so in terms of the types of content that we often see that resonates quite well, is stuff which sees itself in the first at least 2-3 seconds as being able to pique someone's interest and actually be able to make them look cool to their friends. So I'm not surprised that you say that one of the best pieces of content that you produce that Gen Z really like is the psychological stuff. Because they can take that content and they can go to school the next day and say that fact, and people are like, wow, you're so clever. So we live in a world where it's very easy now for you to show or at least present an idealized version of yourself. And the type of content that enables you to essentially show off on social media is the type of content that's going to work pretty much every single time.
Sumaya, what do you think?
I mean, for us, our content is what we like to call conscious content, which means that it is largely constructive. So we're not just talking about issues, but we're talking about solutions. We're talking about how we constructively take a conversation forward. And that's what our audience loves about our content. It's about, you know, showcasing people that are changing their world and changing their environments around them. And I agree with Tim when he says that, you know, there's this misconception that Gen Zs and young people have really short attention spans. Our content, I mean, our retention is one of the best things about our engagement metrics. People watch for a long period of time. And I think it's just about creating content that is, you know, made for mobile viewing, made for the behaviors of young people.
What kind of content you're going to show to millennials or Gen Z if you want more engagement?
I mean, for us, a lot of the things that work is like how-to videos, engaging type of content, listicles. So there's lots of ways of even telling news stories, which what we do, in a way that Gen Zs are used to watching makeup videos, in a way that they're used to watching lots of other, maybe more frivolous type of content. But creating, you know, the types of formats, I think format is really important, types of formats that they're used to watching, that they're already engaging with, and making heavier topics and more serious topics work around those types of formats.
And will you agree with that? What kind of genres or type of stories, content works the best, attracts more followers?
For me, I think most important thing is you have to put a story into it, and they're going to feel related. Like, oh yeah, I have the same experience. Oh yeah, this is the question I really want to ask, and you answered for me. So probably they're going to have more interactions and leave more comments into it.
Yeah, I find Gen Z, they like to consume content that they feel interactive and also in real time
Or
valuable.
some controversial stuff, like I don't agree with you. I don't think this is a good content. Haters probably also a big part of the content. So you can show up or produce some, like there's a huge argument or discussion. Yeah,
So both positions might work.
Yes.
And do Gen Zers respond well to edgier campaign or more visual tactics? Is that true?
Yeah, so I think it depends, right? So in our office back in London, we have this big signpost on our wall, and it says, social media is what happens if you had a TV crew following you 24/7, and you could only show the good parts. And that's the way we see it, because then the owners, especially for brands and for organizations trying to reach that audience, is everyone on social media, everyone here pretty much, we are essentially creating our own TV shows online in which we play the main character. And so the best, you know, campaigns in terms of how to reach younger audiences are the campaigns where you can enable that viewer, that user, to create the best TV show possible. Because if they do that, they will also promote you as well. So yes, there's some elements of edgier content in there, but as long as I think it almost gives them the opportunity to show off in some way, or gives them an opportunity to add another storyline into this TV show they've created for them on social media, you'll always win.
And Freddie, what is the most difficult part for you to make short videos?
I think it's to bear in mind that the methodology that we're now working on, it's called the idea of sharing. Because, you know, we are making those so-called dry contents most of the time. And how are we going to attract the audience that we now have, or those potential audience? It's very important that I always remind my team members, remember every time whenever you are writing or you are editing or you are speaking or dubbing, try to picture a person, a not so well-educated person in front of you. That means that this one is not going to understand those terminologies or those complex expressions or wordings. Then, under these circumstances, how are you going to talk about your things or your stories? I think it's the way of sharing. Yeah, because people, when we are interacting with people, interact with each other, we like the idea of share, not educating, not cramming, not abetting, but sharing. But it's really hard to maintain this kind of methodology or status. Sometimes because we are now running it in a team way, not my individual idea. So sometimes it's really hard to differentiate from the others, copywriters, and with my own idea. And it's
talk to us about that. 9 people on your team.
Yeah.
What kind of role do they play? Like, let us know what a content influencers. how does this whole thing work?
Yeah, as I said, it works quite similarly to those traditional media, because I worked in the traditional media when I was in uni. Yeah, I worked as an intern, like in CCTV as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Actually, like for 2 months or so, and I also work in the provincial TV station in my hometown.
So you know how a
I
traditional
know
newsroom
how
works.
Traditional media works. So basically, what now we are creating videos is quite similar to that. We have brainstorms for like story selection, topic selection, and planning, and then our copywriters or our writers will try their best to find the potential or write the materials and do the writing. And after that, we will always do a second, sometimes even third check to ensure that all the references and the data we include in those articles to be true, to stick to the truth. So before I do the dubbing, because as you can see in my video, sometimes I go online, but sometimes on the camera, but sometimes I do not. So before I go to do the dubbing or voiceover or shooting, I always do a final check to eliminate those minor errors like typos or misnomers. Then comes with editing and post-production, which is really time-consuming. And the final step is uploading our videos to 20 platforms.
Oh my God, that sounds like serious work.
Really serious.
So from planning, filming, post-production, how long does it take? I would assume this would take much longer than Will's videos.
Yeah, much longer. As I said, we got 9 people, right? And we upload video every day. So if it were just me, it would take like 5 to 7 days to produce a single video. Wow. Because we do a lot of research on the topics we are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Like sometimes, as I said, those topics just didn't pump out in my mind. It came from the audience.
The viewers.
And before I see this topic, I never thought about it before. So I have to do the research, read a lot of articles from newspaper, from magazine, sometimes from those publishing materials by the, academy. Yeah, so it's really time-consuming.
And how do you keep your team afloat? I mean, you don't charge your viewers for watching your videos, right? So it's your revenue, I would assume it's mainly from ad money? Yes?
I was just talking with Bill about this question. Before June this year, 2019, most of the incomings actually come from those platforms. They broadcast in our...
Just like YouTube.
Just like YouTube. Just like
pay by views.
Pay by views. Like
more people view your videos.
A lot of videos like Bilibili, Sigua video, and some other like Baidu. They do such kind of feedback for us, incoming feedback for us as well. But after June 2019, after I go onto the camera, then new opportunities come. So those big brands that I really appreciate their acknowledgement, and also they choosing us to promoting their brands or videos. I actually got cooperation. Can I call it a cooperation? Yeah, cooperation from Samsung and from Subaru. And one of my fellows just told me that he has talked to one of the biggest or the most luxurious car branding last night, and I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah.
Oh wow, those are multinational brands.
Exactly.
There are some serious contract they are going. I'll tell you how, what I imagine would be the most difficult part for your content
Sure.
making. I thought it was to get the celebrities to work with you. I asked you the question, but you said no. I even asked, do you pay those celebrities to get
come
them
on.
filmed?
No.
And you said it's actually the other way around.
Yeah, they pay for me to promote
Yeah.
your...
Tell us about that. How does this whole thing work? It looks like it's a whole complete industry now. It's totally commercialized.
Yeah, actually, I was a little bit different from Freddie because he actually had an organization or a team or something, but I just want to work myself. Actually, I don't have the guts to be a boss, so I'm not a boss guy. I just want to work myself because I don't want to disappoint my other people. So for example, if the Hollywood star or the Chinese celebrity, they get a new movies, about 2 years ago, probably they're going to pay for TV. They're going to pay for channels on television. But right now, there's a total different marketing right now. Every individual influencer or KOL has their own channel and their own platforms. Probably I get more views better than a TV channel. So that, and also we are cheaper than, but so so they
and works more effectively.
Yes, yeah, it works. So imagine there's a Jumanji, called Jumanji, a new movie from Dwayne Johnson. They invited me to Mexico, and their whole project promotion, they invited KOL from all over the world. So we use our own unique styles and different styles, the way to vlog or to shoot, and then we promote. So that's how it works. So a lot of people say, hey, Will, you got a lot of money. You can, hire those. Come on, there's no way. But this is a total different marketing right now.
And Sumaya, is this the trend that you are seeing now in this industry? I mean, how do you coach people come to your company who want to pretend content that works?
Sorry, how do we?
If you want your viewers more engagement, how would you produce your content? More original content, better quality content, or more choice of content, or just choose one sector and do it, take it to the best?
So for us, the fundamental of what we do is user-generated content. So we encourage people to send us their content. We help them to make their content better, and we produce shows around that content. So, I mean, for us, reality is the new quality. It's about people being as real and as raw as they possibly can. I guess in advertising, maybe that's a bit different. But in journalism, people want to see real stories, compelling narratives. And so, yeah, we would encourage people to be as real as possible, to tell their stories. We use augmented reality storytelling lenses that we've developed to allow them to tell their stories better, to guide them on how to tell that compelling narrative, to take their story from something that's random to something that people want to watch, that will reach a lot of people and give them the platform to do that as well.
Right, and unlike any other generations, Gen Zers actually do consume video contents more on their mobile devices. I think statistics say over 70% of them watch videos on their mobile phone. So this means that if you want to reach this demographic, you're going to have to make your content mobile phone consumption first. Yeah. So for example, make your content go vertical. So any square or horizontal content of videos won't work that well. Is that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that the case with you, Will?
Yeah, I mean, now take myself, for example. I no longer watch TV anymore. Yeah, so I use cell phone. And at the first time, I insist to upload the not vertical, but then I surrendered because the vertical. People are too lazy to
even switch their phones aside.
To switch their phones. So yeah, vertical is the future.
So Tim, what else are you particularly paying attention to when it comes to producing for mobile-first consumption?
So I think a lot of it comes down to what is the emotion we can get from someone on the end of it. So actually, I think this was about 2-3 months ago, probably a bit further actually, about 6 months ago, we actually signed on Huawei as a client, and we helped them to promote their latest phone.
On Snapchat?
It was on Instagram and on Snapchat, yeah. Oh, wow. And what we did was, they were doing their standard billboard advertising, just kind of their standard
conventional
advertising.
Marketing.
Yeah, and what we did was we got a bunch of influencers to get their latest phone. And I think that phone, the big thing they were trying to sell was the picture quality, was the camera quality. So we got them to take the phone and essentially document a whole day in their life, and then tell their fans that if they wanted to win that phone, they should also share how they would spend their life as an influencer. And we got 60,000 entries, like 60,000 people in 3 days, because this happened over a weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just...
Making purchase of the phone?
Well, people actually just saying what they would do if they were actually in...
Leaving comments
yeah.
on that. Okay.
And then just in that weekend, we got from the marketing team saying that they'd seen the highest spike in direct traffic to that phone. And bear in mind, we didn't go with the message of go and buy this phone, which was exactly what was happening on their billboard ads. Exactly what was happening was, here's our phone, it's great, look at how great the camera quality is, go and buy it. But we actually led again with a completely different approach, which is actually tapping into the emotional engagement and getting people actually resonating about a phone, right? And that there's just one of the things that we look at, especially when activating campaigns. We did a campaign with McDonald's, and this was 100,000 people just doing this on Instagram the whole time, because it was for their French fry, and it was a Peely Peely campaign. So it was all just people doing this. And I think, like, it can be very easy going from a traditional marketing world to think, let's go quickly for the purchase. Let's go quickly for the checkout. But in a world where, like, let me grab your phone. This is basically our remote control, right? So in a world where we can just turn you off at any point, when it's always a sales message, we as marketers, as brands, as just like people who are thinking about how we reach that audience, always need to think about how do we create content which actually goes for the emotion first, as opposed to just instantly going for the sale all the time. Because in the long run, you'd actually build a much more loyal customer than someone who you only got because you said, we're cheaper, or we're doing an offer, or here's a discount.
So when trying to enter this new platform, what is traditional media doing wrong, Samaya?
I think traditional media in general, I think that there's a lack of diversity within the newsroom, and that trickles down into the type of content that they produce. There's a lack of diversity in terms of, economics, of age group, of geographics, and so it leaves them kind of out of touch with young audiences and with people. But I also think that there's this misconception from traditional journalism that it's a very like us and them type of thing, when actually we need journalists more than we've ever needed journalists before, because we have this democratization of media, this democratization of social, where everybody has a voice and everyone can tell their own story. We need journalists to provide context around that. We need them to provide, the verification and the fact-checking, and to help us understand what all of this noise means. I think that traditional media often, because of all of the investment that they have in more traditional ways of telling stories, they tend to want to fit something into, for example, fit a television package into a mobile sort of, a mobile platform, and that doesn't work. You need to create a TikTok video is very different from a Snapchat video, is very different from an IGTV, and is very different from a YouTube video.
So you don't think the repurposed or reformatted video from TV content would work for Snapchat or for
I mean, for Snapchat, for example, people are going to Snapchat to see what their friends are doing. And so as soon as you have something that looks, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be produced, but if something looks fundamentally different to what like your friends are producing or like what you're used to watching, it's jarring for the audience. And so
provide more context or even behind-the-scene clips without work?
Yeah, understanding how to, people are on Snapchat and in Instagram stories, they're always clicking. They're clicking onto the next thing. How do you understand that and strategize your storytelling around those types of things? Whereas YouTube, people, it's a lean back approach. People are leaning back and watching. But your stories, people are leaning forward and constantly clicking. And so, you know, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all.
Right. And a lot of news organizations are now trying very hard to adapt to that. To the fact that now videos are being consumed so differently. We've seen TV news anchors posting short videos or do live streamings. I mean, the most shocking one for me is to see that 7 o'clock news, that CCTV here in China, the anchors from that show to do short videos and post it on TikTok. I mean, that is a serious political hardcore news programs. And when you see their short videos, do you think they're doing a good job, Will? How do you look at them?
Yeah, I think they do a really good job because there is one philosophy if you want to create a successful short videos that you have to take the audience to somewhere they cannot see. So CCTV is somewhere that the audience cannot see, so it will definitely be successful.
Freddie?
I actually saw the blogs posted by Konghui, also from Liu Xin in CGTN as well. They have actually doing some, I think I saw the video of Liu Xin teaching audiences how to pronounce vlog. And it's quite interesting to see such kind of videos on the traditional media's social media channels. It's because I've seen this as a new trend, and those clever traditional medias are smart enough to reckon or to treat new media platforms as a friend or cooperators or just a way of distributing new contents for those original materials on the TV. But also, they will also have to produce more down-to-earth down-to-earth contents like the one I mentioned, like vlogs or like English tips, something like this. It will make people feel like this channel on this social media is engaging with us. Yeah, it's talking with us, not just giving you something, not showing up you something.
Yeah, and I think if you want to see the perfect example of how a news organization can really adapt to a platform, go on TikTok and look at the Washington Post. Like, they absolutely have just killed it because they have their TV anchors and all those people, and they have them doing behind-the-scenes content, but it's not just, hey, guys, let's go behind the scenes and let me show you this. They actually get involved in the hashtag challenges. They get involved in the trends. And, fundamentally, people don't buy into companies. People buy into personalities. And if you can essentially create personalities across social, across all your various touch points, you'd always win. And it's actually not that hard. Like, every time I'm at a conference or every time I'm talking to other people, other organizations, other marketers, I say it only really just takes maybe just get one person in your team and just make it their 3-month goal to just investigate how a certain platform works, and then just give them a small bit of budget for anything they need to just have fun for those first 3 months. Because, I'm 24. Our company right now, we have 35 people. The average age of the company is 22.
Wow.
But when we first started, especially on TikTok, for the first week, everybody from our salespeople to the marketers to the developers, I said, just spend the first week on TikTok. That's all I want you to do. Just investigate the platform. I don't care about any missed deadlines or anything like that. I just want you to understand the platform. And by understanding that, they were then able to understand how to create content for that. But for big organizations, news organizations, it doesn't take that much effort. You can literally just get one person, say, you are the head of special projects. Go ahead for the next 3 months, investigate this. platform and figure out how our brand voice can make sense, then you would actually be in the lead above like 90% of your competitors.
That's a good advice. Now, we have a little bit of time left. Let's give our audience a chance to ask the question that they might want to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, our floor is now open for question. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Our staff will give you the mic. And do please, there's one right here. Can we have the mic over there, please? We have a question over there. The third row, the lady on the edge of the third row. Can we have a mic, please? 来，请司仪小姐把话筒给我们第三排那边举手想要提问的女士。Oh, we want our audience and our online viewers to hear. And also, please state your name and your organizations before the question. Thank you so much.
Wait. I'm Ivania Penalver from Inex. I'm head of global distribution. And one of my wonders is, do you see yourself looking in the same platforms in 20 years? Or going to find news and information in 20 years' time? Or do you think that the platforms we are looking into now and the one that we will develop for the age range that you have will change through the years, but in 15, 20 years you will be looking into what you call now legacy media or traditional media, or name it, in the future? Where do you see yourself looking into news in 10 years' time?
Will, you want to take that? In 15 or 20 years, will you be still doing this?
No, of course not. Yeah, I can't. I just talked with Freddy. I don't think that we're gonna be that. I don't know, the 5G, for example,
yeah, 5G is
when
coming.
5G arrives, probably I'm gonna die because
why?
Yeah, it's so hard to be an influencer. I will not be an influencer. Probably I'm gonna to make other people to be influencer.
Why do you think 5G is gonna make it
because
hard
the competition,
for you?
like it's easier.
So more people would
yeah.
be able to to join you guys.
It's easier to make a content, but it's harder to be a real individual IP. So I cannot imagine what I will be in the 10 or 15 years. That's too long.
Freddie?
I'm trying the best to stay as long as I can. Because time change and the people's, their taste change as well. Like the first series of videos we produced was somehow like teach our audience or tell our
your
audience.
content is useful all the time.
Yeah, it's like what's the toxic tree looks like in the world, and what kind of the highest man in the world looks like, things like that. In a very early stage, like 2016 or 2017, they are into this kind of contents. But as time goes by, as they are growing up, the Gen Z grow as well.
Yeah.
So the taste changed. They want to know why glucose is called glucose. It's called grape sugar in China. Is it related to glucose? Why do we have cow milk, not buffaloes, not pigs? They want to know this kind of, I think it's a funny question, but it's actually a very knowledgeable question as well. It deserves us to dig into that topic. And they do have historical or educational background or psychological background in this. And we learned a lot in this as well.
Yeah.
Me personally, I learned a lot from this as well. Because as I said before, I dig into this topic, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. But in the future, I don't know what the taste will go to, but I will be myself and stay allergic to the change of the era and trying not to meet the certifications, not satisfy the needs, but also to engage myself with the needs and also not to change myself too much.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because when we experienced the transition from 3G to 4G, fewer of us would actually imagine the rise of short video platforms, live streaming platforms, the platforms you guys are now dominating. And now with 5G is coming, it's very hard to imagine what's going to be like in the future. Tim, your thoughts on this? Maybe
Yeah,
augmented reality, AR, VR would also come along?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess the short answer is that no, I don't imagine that in 10, 15, 20 years we'd be looking at the same things. But I think that is actually because of one reason. Whether you are a brand or a news organization, you may have different sub-businesses, but really you're in one business, and that is the business of attention. Like, that is really what you are doing. You are finding where the attention is and then delivering information and delivering content to them. Right now, the attention is on the platforms that we've spoken about, right? So the Instagrams, Snapchats, TikToks, YouTubes of the world. But in 10, 15 years, that's obviously going to change. But by understanding essentially how to, which is what we've spoken about here, understanding how to cultivate that attention and then get them to make an action, by understanding it at the fundamental level now, you would always be ahead of a lot of people regardless of the platform in 10, 15, 20, 50 years, right? So really understanding that, right, I'm in the business of attention. I'm in the business of finding where those pockets of community are and then delivering myself to them in the most natural, organic way. Once you actually, if you think about it like that, rather than which social platforms are going to be in vogue, you would then be able to essentially build a long-lasting brand because you're focusing on the macro instead of the specifics. And that, to me, is how we future-proof ourselves for the next 10, 15, again, 50 years or so.
All right, that's all the time we have for this session. Very intriguing questions and discussions. Thank you very much, Will, Freddie, Tim, and Sumaya. Thank you.
Thank you.